Civil rights happened so fast, a movement that tackled the shackled past. See, the African Americans, they want racism to last. So one day they woke up and surpassed, starting with Brown versus education. A case that escalated into a revolution. They were able to propose a solution, proving separate but equal was not equal at all. It obstructed some rights and blacks were appalled. Third guard marshal was the dare to defend it and render an aid. 1954 was the date of it all. Within the segregation, to understand that it was the heart to start the beat, the march to walk on feet, to stand and unite, to overcome and defeat. It was the fluid to the flame that inflamed the fleet. The people wanted to change and came to compete, and made that force NAACP. It was founded in 1909, but they didn't have anything definitive to grab and say mine. Once they reached the epitome of the P, where the segregation became concrete, they started to understand their plans could become complete. With more than 500,000 to stand on feet in time, they enacted acts, voting in civil rights to become accurately intact, actually to crack the racist attacks and lashes at their backs. Emmett Till was the victim to the attacks, raised as a middle class back. But one day in Mississippi, when visiting a relative, he wasn't able to fight back. He was hit and punished for being different because his skin was a shade of black. He flirted with the cashier and was kidnapped later like a stolen knapsack. He failed to return. After death, he was thrown in a ditch. It taught others that racism is serious and never to take it lightly, even if the whites made it seem so hilarious. In contrast to Rosa Parks, she was the one that deemed nefarious, a criminal for sitting on the bus, but she was the opposite of precarious. She stayed in her seat and refused to move. The word spread quickly that she was arrested, but nonetheless she didn't stress it. She was a quite garious one. Yeah, started a boycott and lasted about a year. The direction she drove the movement to steer allowed the blacks to elevate onto a different pier. By this time, the words made by one named Martin was sheer. I have a dream, he said, as the others shed a tear. They knew the time had come, they were the ones among. The change was young, but the words were old. The reality of the march was cold, and there was fortune to be told, because there were so many things happening. But before that, the Little Rock 9 school, the segregation was the combatant to the window of the fresh air that had the quality cracked. It was the tack in the wall that supported the back. Posters and images that reflected history's past. Freedom rode out of reality's path, determined to make it through the storm. A little later the swarm, and determined to tear the core of all they had in store. So the roar of the marching feet started the march on Washington. They pushed racism to end of the absolute peak, where people had the words to speak. The words brought tears to the people trying to find faith, because liberty was sacred to disseminate as they dispersed verses if they versatile. The people were never in denial, they just lacked the faith which supplemented and drenched the hate. The movement was instantaneous, but it sent a message to give leeway to the naysayers that always had a lot to say. It eliminated all sophistry and gave hope to the African Americans, or better known as the blacks, having them say, nobody stopping me, cause the velocity of the movement was so fast as flash. The world come back, but it spread around the world, now it's all come back, and faster than a blink, so you'll never have the time to think. But to think we're learning about the movement, and it was just a link into the past. So it's time to understand and write down in class, because the words we say in public eye will ever last. The memories and stories that are past will pass through the hourglass to the present where they're unwrapped. Our words are the part of time. Time will trap the memories and cast a shadow that will mask the past so drastic that you might be a pace of everything that's educational and classing.